Welcome back, y'all.
What up? Ooh, ooh. My voice cracked.
It did.
It's well timed because we're talking about resilience today.
Yeah.
And self-regulation. I've not been self-regulating very well, which I'm sure is why my voice is cracking.
Yeah, probably.
Mm-hmm. Love that for us.
Hot Mess Express right here. Whoop, whoop.
Not a hot mess. Not that. It's been a full week, which is good. Abundance.
Yes. Okay, Taylor, note to self, Taylor does not like hot Mess Express.
That makes me sound unorganized, which I'm not.
You're not unorganized. You're just a little squeaky.
Yeah, just hit puberty again.
Okay, well, let's get into it because you know what? I have a great question.
You have a great question.
I have a great question. Today, we're talking about the real secret to resilience, which is self-regulation. And on that topic, my question is, when do you know you're out of regulation? You are not regulated. You are running hot, as Taylor would say.
Running hot. I think the first sign for me, or the sign that consistently comes up that I really pay attention to, or is most evident, is sleep disruption. If we look at a lack of self-regulation from a physiological perspective, sustained levels of cortisol, high cortisol is kind of our body's response to that. And the way that shows up is in disrupted sleep. So that's kind of the physiological response. You can often fall asleep easy because you're tired. Your body's trying to shut down, trying to recover, but then your essentially your brain kicks back on, right? That increased cortisol, that lack of regulation, that lack of ability to be present in your sleep, which is your body's superpower, and where everything good happens, is disrupted. And so that's those like 2 a.m. wake up, the 3 a.m., the staring at the ceiling fan, can't sleep, brain turns on. You're smiling because that happens to you all the time.
Like every night. I'm like, oh God.
Yeah.
No, so the other night or the other day when I was like, oh yeah, I didn't sleep very well. It was the red wine. You were like, bull fucking shit.
Yeah, I was like, a glass of red wine. That was it for sure. It wasn't the months of high speed effort that you put in. Yeah, no, I mean, so that's just like, that's the cue. And that's for everyone. There's just a scientific aspect to that. And so I try to pay attention to that. I really try to prioritize sleep, and it's something that if I don't get, I'm definitely not at my best. I gave into the narrative for many years that like, I don't need sleep and it's fine and I can run and I had, got 4 hours of sleep for a long time. And, I'm not doing that anymore. And so, yeah, when that happens, I know that that's a lack of self-regulation. And that's where too, it's like, oh, people are like, I know you're one of these people, but this is not directed at you. But in general, I want to give like good advice. If you are one of those people that are like, oh, I feel fine on 6 hours of sleep, or oh, I feel fine on 5 hours of sleep, or oh, I just don't need 8 hours of sleep. You have high cortisol and your body is constantly in fight or flight. You're stuck in your parasympathetic nervous system and your body is used to that. And that's your default. And so that's why it feels okay. That doesn't mean that it is okay.
No, that's a personal call out. # called out.
No,
it's fine.
That's so many leaders. That was me for like 15 years. I was like, no, I'm good. I feel great. I can exercise. I have energy. I'm firing all cylinders. No, your body is a resilient machine. It gets used to living in a default state that is heightened and suboptimal. That doesn't mean that is the highest and best or the way that your body needs or should run. And that is 1000% just a cortisol response.
Okay. Well, you heard it here. Sleep more.
Yeah.
Per Dr. Taylor. Dr. Thomas has spoken. Okay. Well, we actually need this for ourselves this week because I would say we're running hot. We had a busy week. We had an amazing week. We had great events. We did all of the stuff yesterday. client calls, all the things, travel, Taylor got a little sun in Mexico, all of the things. So we're running a little hot. Cortisol is up. So how do we self-regulate? Let's talk about this. So it's not about pushing harder. It's about recovering faster. See, I like this. I'm like, okay, all right, more sleep. But how do I like do better, faster, go?
I mean, I think that's the real piece. And that's what we're going to get into today is like, I'm not advocating, nor do I think the answer is to like slow down and pull back on your goals. It's to push hard and be driven and motivated in a way that supports your optimal state.
Yeah.
And so like, yeah, the answer is not like take a nap during the day and like, pull back and try to, do less. And when I talk about do less, I'm not talking about like task orientation. I'm talking about like set, like driving towards a very clear direction, like setting goals, like being a high performer. I love that. I'm not slowing down, but I want to move intentionally and allocate my energy in a way that allows me to show up and be my best self.
Yeah.
And that lack of self-regulation is what puts us in that suboptimal state, right? We're not clear. There's emotional responses, there's physical responses, there's, the way that we are able to lead and the way that we're able to accomplish our goals is less. And I think that's the piece, right? And we've talked about this on the podcast before, is there's what I'm talking about, this like very clear, driven approach to moving in an intentional direction towards your goals in alignment with your mission and vision is not hustle culture.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I want to be very clear, like, absolutely, like work your ass off.
Mm-hmm.
That is not what we've been sold, which is like grind, hustle, power through. That's gotten, in certain circles very sexy. And that's what's not sustainable. And that's what today we're going to advocate is not really, it's not yielding the results that we think it is. Right. We feel good saying it because it's, popular again in certain circles. True resilience is recovery. It's time to actually process the stress. That's physical stress, that's mental stress, that's emotional stress, that's the things that we get from work, that's exercise, that's the list goes on. It is true resilience is adaptability. So being able to be fluid and maneuver the inevitable onslaught of dynamic encounters that we have as leaders, and staying grounded under pressure. And I think this for me is the thing that falls off so quickly when I am not in that kind of resilient state, is as soon as a little pressure is applied, my response gets like wildly like overstated, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm not able to think about things clearly. I'm not able to stay grounded in who I am, which is someone who tries to be patient and tries to understand, and tries to communicate, and all those things go out the window.
Mm-hmm.
And so ultimately leaders who don't regulate will eventually burn out, right? And it might be a long time. People might be listening to this and be like, I'm in that zone and I feel fine. Totally. I've been there. It took me like 16 and a half years to reach that point.
Mm-hmm.
So like, yeah, and maybe it's 20 years, but eventually it will happen. So, I truly want, because the physical piece and like how we show up for ourselves is something that's so important to me. And I've spent really my entire life trying to help people show up for themselves, both in the workplace as well as for themselves in kind of the physical space, to the highest and best, kind of reach their full potential. And this is just such a barrier.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that you literally can see, or certainly like I can see it. I'm like, like, I know, like you feel like shit, I know it's like not going, like I know that there's more, but you just keep pushing. So let's talk about some skills. how do we, it's all well and good, right? I'm here like waxing poetic about how great it is to sleep. And I'm like, cortisol and blah, blah, like, all right, so like, how do we actually do it?
Yeah, I think when we're talking about this, my first inclination is like, I'm not going to slow down, right? And so, how do we actually continue and not hustle, but push towards our goals? And so, self regulation is a muscle that builds true resilience. Um, it's it's tangible and it's definitely trainable and sustainable. Like it's if we don't do this well, we will burn out, but also there will be real in the pursuit, there will be real consequences, not just for our goals, but also for our teams. And so when you're like, when we're going after self regulation, there's a couple of things that I think are really important because we are experiencing cortisol and because we're in that place, we have to have real tools. I think that's the thing that you are good at is knowing how to actually get your body in a place of self-regulation. And it is a little bit different. So it is a practice. This is a muscle that you have to learn how to build. And if you don't actually know what it is for you, you're going to have to practice this. So it gives you the ability to stay calm under stress. It also allows you to choose responses over reactions. And it also helps you recover faster from adversity. So the goal is not less stress. The goal is dealing with the stress better and not being moved by the stress. So one of my favorite things is breath work and making sure that like you're grounded. I think when we're in stress, we forget to breathe. The brain doesn't actually know the difference between excitement and stress. The only difference is breath. So when you're in stress, the posture that we hold, we start to clench up. We start to hold our body in a different way. Your breathing gets tighter. Your neck gets constricted, and the brain goes, "Oh shit, cortisol's released." Right? That's exactly what happens. And so if we can actually remember, say a leader comes into your office with like, I'm done, I'm going to quit, I'm out of here, whatever. We had a client dealing with this literally this week. Like someone calls them out of the blue and they're like, I'm done, this is my resignation. And all of the sudden you're like, you have to deal with this in real time. There's like no space for you to be like, can you hold on real quick? I need to go recover from that comment.
I need to go do some breath work.
I'll be right back. No, you're like, you have to be ready for it. So the only thing that you can do in that moment is actually self-regulate your body. And so making sure that you're breathing is step one, making sure that you're grounded in movement. And so like, again, you can't like tuck away typically and be like, I'm going to go process that. Just be right back. I'll respond better in a minute. No, you can actually change how you're sitting. And one of the things that's like my favorite is utilizing your hands to ground yourself. Like when we look at speakers that are very gifted, they hold their hands in a triangle or they put their palms together. And if you do that kind of at your core level, it actually grounds you, having your feet grounded on the floor, making sure you're not shifted to one side. All of these things are little tips that you can actually utilize when you're trying to self-regulate in a situation where you can't tuck away and go do a yoga class. So making sure that like you're grounded, and a practice of movement every single day, practice of sleep, obviously is going to really, truly help you move through that. But making sure that you're thinking about how you're holding your body, how you're breathing, and it's okay to pause. I think we're all so afraid of like dead space in conversations. And it's okay to say, I don't know. And I think sometimes when we're in a conversation or we're in a place of stress, we just try to have the fastest reaction. Slow down, take up space, own your space. And you'll do that better if you're breathing, if you're grounded, and if you're holding your body in a way that actually allows you to go through that. So regulated, and let's talk a little bit about this and like what that looks like in action. Regulated leaders can also, they create regulated teams, right? Like we lead by example.
Yeah.
And so if we don't do this, our team is going to pick this up regardless. Like your team, your kids, everyone around you, if you're running hot, they're going to run hot. Like even your dog is going to respond. I don't know if that, like my dog turns into an asshole when I'm out of regulation and
Yeah.
when I'm off. So I think if you think about doing better as a leader, if your team's on your nerves, if the people around you are on your nerves, maybe that's a reflection point for you to go, oh, maybe it's me. Maybe I need to take a second to just regulate, calm down, restore my body, recover a little bit, and then think about things in a different way. Because our ability to think and problem solve is going to be so much greater. So tips, what does this look like in action?
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I mean, it kind of stands to reason, but it's a good reminder that energy gets passed on to the people around us.
Yeah.
And I know that so often as high performers, we think that we're able to operate in a bubble that's isolated from everyone else. We're like, well, this is my thing, but like, I'm just going to handle it, and that's not going to impact anyone else. But that's not true. Like you said, it's the people you work with, it's your family, it's your friends, it's your dog. My dog does the same thing, and I think so. One is just like small daily shifts. I think the biggest thing that we can do to shift that and make a real impact in how we create regulated teams. So again, we're talking about leadership and how this resilience and regulation impacts our ability to lead well. The biggest thing that we can do is just one, to recognize that this is a thing, recognize that it does matter, recognize that how we show up is important, that kind of energy that we bring to the workplace, to experience, and work to just catch that. I think, I know that we just don't know that we're doing it right. Like, you're just adapting, and our bodies are incredibly good at adapting to stress really quickly. And so we're able to navigate that, or the stress compounds much more quickly than we realize, because our bodies are really amazing machines. And so just knowing that it happens, trying to be aware of it, trying to make small daily shifts. You talked about breath work. Literally, I mean, there's so many easy ways to do this. And I know that this sounds like woo woo, like I want to be very clear that like I'm not advocating, or we're not advocating that there's some like major shift, or you like are doing yoga on top of your desk in the middle of the day. Like, it is very, very small things. Like, one of the things I'll do is, literally in the 5 minutes between meetings or Zoom calls or whatever, just like push back from your desk and take like 5 breaths, right? Just like, instead of just being hot, right? Boom, boom, back to back to call to just literally 10 seconds, right? Or, stand up and just like bend over and stretch for a second, get blood flow moving towards your brain. If you've been sitting all day, like literally just like hang. I mean, I'm literally talking like 10 to 15 seconds throughout at any time of the day. And just that kind of presence of mind, knowing that those things need to be injected, or that it's helpful for those things to be injected into your day, totally changes like your mindset and how you kind of just feel about your day, right? You're like, oh, this is feeling pretty condensed. Like, let me just take a 10-second beat here. Legs up the wall is another great one.
Yeah, legs up the wall is really good. Or just take a lap around like your house or your building, like depending on, I think that's another one. Like, we just discount how, a quick walk, a little bit of sunshine, even if it's cold outside, can change your state. And I think that when we don't realize, if we change our state, we change our mind, which changes our outcome.
Mm-hmm.
And when we allow ourselves to do that, it works better. I think we just tell ourselves, at least for me, I tell myself, like, I don't have time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have the space. And so when we insert those little things, yes, we're not advocating that you need to become like a pro yoga, like breath work master. It's the little things within your day that you integrate. And you have to build that muscle, because it's going to feel awkward or it's going to feel unproductive at first. But making sure, we just had a conversation with someone who was letting someone go on their team. And I was like, all right, step one, make sure you breathe. And that was like one of the greatest things that she's like, I literally remembered to breathe. And that was like one of the wins. And she said that it actually allowed her to have the conversation from a place that's more grounded. And she felt more confident in that conversation. And so it's nothing that's like mind shattering. You're like, yeah, I'm a human. I fucking breathe. But we forget. And those little tiny things can actually change the outcome of conversations, of how we make decisions. All of those things will shift. So let's talk about, like, how do we practice this?
Leadership challenge.
Oh, leadership challenge.
We're doing it.
We're just, okay. Oh, I totally missed it.
We're moving into the leadership challenge.
Totally missed it.
You were so fired up that you forgot to.
I know.
Ding, 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 ding.
Okay, so we have a challenge for you. For making sure that you can leave this conversation and go practice it every single day. So step one, notice signs of deregulation, and like, notice when you're stressed. That's what we're saying. When you have to understand when you're stressed. So one of the greatest signs is your heart's racing. Like, you didn't go up a flight of stairs and you might be out of breath. This literally happens to me. I'm like, I didn't move. Why am I out of breath? I'm like, I sound like my Frenchie. I'm like, oh shit. I am totally deregulated. Okay. And then you have a short temper. Nope, never me. Woo. I did not. I never do that. Ooh, Taylor.
If you're watching the YouTube video right now, you're seeing the face I'm making at Christine. I get it too. No, I mean, that the racing heart. Yeah, I think, but that one, I almost feel like I can I'm probably worse at recognizing that, or I don't know.
You just breathe like a Frenchie all the time.
Yeah. The short temper though, like that, it shows up in a big way. Like that's the sign. I think you and I both were like, "Ooh, geez," or like even with each other. Yeah. Right. Like we'll be on the phone or something, just talking about something pretty, whatever. Like, and I'm like, like we'll catch each other. Be like, "Ooh, what's going on? Like you're like grumpy, or like, why are you being so mean to me?"
Anytime we the first word we text each other is "fucking."
Yeah. That's I did that the other day.
You opened your computer and you're like, I was texting you something. All I put was fucking. I was like, whoa, that was a bad day.
I know.
So short temper, like things that you might not get or snap at. Literally, like if I start snapping at people, I snap at my kids. They get really mad at me. My husband doesn't like that either. I don't know if I've ever snapped at you yet.
No.
We're doing good.
I'll break your finger off.
Know your, what I call your catchphrases. Or your like little subtle things. If you can pick up on that and even ask your spouse or your business partner, like, what's my catchphrase? Taylor's is, maybe you haven't used it as much. Mine is, it's fine. Everything's fine. Yours is what an opportunity.
Oh, yeah.
When Taylor starts using what an opportunity, I know he's in stress. I know cortisol is there.
Yeah.
High. And then scattered thinking. This one I think is, we're like, at least for me, I get into a real place of shame when I can't think straight. And I'm like, why can't I figure this out? Why? Or you start losing shit. That's probably a sign I'm always in cortisol. So look for those 3 signs: racing heart, short temper, and scattered thinking. So if you're like a blamer, you might be more short tempered. If you are a shamer and you like shame yourself, you might be more scattered and like kind of unconfident or lose your confidence. So look for those signs. That's step 1. Step 2 is, in that moment, pause, breathe, move or ground yourself if you don't have an opportunity to move, and then like downshift, just like take a beat, slow down, kind of just give some space for whatever's happening and don't react. If you can stop yourself in that moment, don't react. So step 2 is just go through those little steps to recovery. And then 3, schedule a daily 5-minute regulation practice. So just schedule it into your day. The best thing that we can do is schedule time for ourselves. Taylor's really good at this. He works out in the middle of the day. I haven't got there yet, but probably because I don't want to take a shower in the middle of the day. This hair. It's not the same.
You would also have time to do that if you wanted to.
I knew you were going to say that. But
yeah,
that is so unproductive. I'm just kidding. It's not. You have to see. That's the lie.
You're shaming. See, you're doing it. This is a great real-time example, everyone. We just worked through this. You just caught Christine in the middle of an inability to downregulate.
My breathing definitely got faster. Did you see that? Whew.
Yeah.
I got like a little sweaty.
Yeah.
I was like, take time in the middle of my day.
Yeah, I mean, and it's good, right? Like these are the thoughts that come up. And the fact of the matter is that, whether or not you carve out an hour in the middle of your day or something, that absolutely, that might not work for everybody. That might not be the highest and best use of that time. And maybe there's other things to do. 5 minutes, or 10 seconds of breath between calls, like these small pauses to just check yourself are 100% doable. Like no one doesn't have that time. Literally the busiest of days, back to back 16-hour days, like all that, like I can still do that. Like there's time. Awareness is the key, right? Yeah. And like you said, catching yourself, noticing those signs of when you are in dysregulation. Scattered thinking, you mentioned that's another really good one. I think I hadn't thought about that specifically, but yeah, I think that when you're like, what was I going to say? When you find yourself like,
where you can't like find a word, you're like, what's the word?
Yeah.
Also, I have like one little bonus thing before we close. Specifically, I mean, I guess it could be any time of the day, but choosing to go get a cup of tea, like lavender or what's the other one? The other sleepy time tea.
Chamomile.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. I was like, what is it called? Because I don't drink it often. Obviously, this is one for me. Go instead of getting more coffee because that kind of contributes to the stress. Go get a cup of tea or a kombucha because the probiotics are going to help your gut self-regulate.
Yeah.
So that's why at co-working spaces they have kombucha on tap. Did you know that? That's where that came from.
I did not know that. That's cool.
So take a second, maybe take a pause on the coffee and choose something better.
I love an afternoon tea.
I know you do. See, you're so good at this. You're just like you're just a little recovery elf.
Look at me, guys. No, it's because I did it wrong for so long. And I literally the doctor told me if I didn't get my shit together, I was going to have to go on medicine. So I sacrificed my health for too long. Fair. Hibiscus tea is another one to add to your tip. That helps with blood pressure. So I drink hibiscus tea in the afternoons, and it's a natural, it lowers so it's delicious too.
It is delicious. Yeah, that's a fun one. See, all these things. Yeah. So,
So final thought, if you don't walk away with anything else from this episode, I want you to hear that you don't need less stress. You need a stronger reset button, right? So again, the goal is not to be less stressed. The goal is not to do less. The goal is to recognize how to manage that stress in a way that is productive and to recognize those cues in your body. So you don't need less stress. You just need a stronger reset button.
Yep. Do better faster.
That's it.
Go.
So we have some awesome stuff coming up in the latter part of May. Next week, we are actually going to be doing, it is going to be May 14th. We're going to be talking at Boulder Startup Week. We actually have a couple of speaking opportunities or workshops that we're doing at Boulder Startup Week. But the first one, which is on the Wednesday, during Boulder Startup Week, we're actually going to be talking about this. So we partnered with an amazing practitioner. Her name is Lexi Rose, and we're going to be doing a combination of myofascial release and leadership development. So Lexi's going to guide the group through some myofascial release, which is like trigger point foam rolling, looking for those stressors in your body. She is incredible. And then we, at the same time, are going to be talking through some leadership development, kind of probing questions and how to make that mental shift for when you are dysregulated and what it looks like to be a resilient and regulated leader. So super, super cool. We're smashing these two things together and really combining how the stress manifests in your body, and then ultimately how it manifests and impacts us as leaders and what we're trying to accomplish in our businesses. So that is the 14th. Again, that's the Wednesday of Boulder Startup Week. That's going to be at 1 o'clock. Right now it's scheduled at the Kiln co-working space in Boulder. If it gets too big, it might change. So check the schedule, but that's a free event. So we want to encourage you to check that out if you're in and around Boulder, Colorado. The following day on Thursday, we are also going to be speaking at Boulder Startup Week. We're going to be talking about difficult conversations. This is one that we love. We've talked about on the podcast.
Love it.
How to have difficult conversations, difference, how to be kind, the difference between being kind versus nice, and how being nice is killing your team culture. Super excited for that one. We already have like 75 people coming to that one. So that's going to be super fun, big group. And that's going to be interactive. We're going to provide some prompts and questions and get you really thinking and out of your comfort zone, and really give you the tools to walk away with some very tactical guidance on how to have those conversations more meaningfully and impactfully in the workplace. And then we're also, as always, doing our 2 recurring events we do every month in Denver. Remind me of the dates of those again.
It is going to be the 28th of May, Wednesday, the 28th at noon is our health and fitness grow circle. And then the second one is for the service and trades industry. And that is going to be May 29th at 3 p.m., 3 to 4:30 p.m. at Kiln in Denver. So we're going to be taking up all the space in Kiln.
We're doing it. Yeah, look out, Kiln.
In May. So come see us, whether you are trying to have hard conversations or you want to come get into the communities that Taylor and I have been building for the last couple of months. They are incredible. We would love to see you there.
And then if we don't see you in person, we'll catch you next time on Impact Minded. You can always catch us at impactinitiative.network, and send us any questions you have, reach out, connect. We'd love to hear from you, and we'll see you next time on Impact Minded.